HD picks up everything, so it puts a lot more pressure on the makeup artist to make sure that the talent looks flawless, that you can't see any flaws whatsoever. So before we start the demo, I'm just going to mention a few things you have to remember / do.
He's upstaging you.
Yeah.
No flaws whatsoever?
Well, not whatsoever, but we have to make sure like that you look good for the camera.
Passable.
Yes. But anyways, so just a few things to remember and do anytime you apply makeup is you have to make sure that you keep your station and your products sanitary. Make sure that like all like your products, like I have this sanitizing spray right here specifically designed for makeup. It's to go over all your powders, because if you don't take care of your products, it could spread bacteria to everything and you could spread it to the client, and you don't want that. And another thing is to make sure that you keep your hands nice and clean, so always bring hand sanitizer or something to make sure you can keep your hands clean. Also, like for cream products like such as this, you're always going to want to have a spatula and a little plate to put it on, because you never want to dip your brushes directly into those. And also, just to make sure that you don't touch the client's face. Even though you did sanitize your hands and everything, it's just precautions. And so you gotta make sure like you just hold a tissue between your hand and the client, so just never just put your hands directly like on their face. In certain areas you can, like special effects, but we are not gonna get into something like that. But so yeah, let's get into it. So, oh sorry, I forgot one more thing I have to say is continuity in film is super important, which I'm sure most of you know. And it's really important for the makeup artist to make sure that like throughout the whole time you're filming, you want to make sure the actor stays like the same. So makeup artist's job begins like before filming starts and ends like when filming is done for the day. Because we have to make sure that they stay exactly the same through when you first apply the makeup till the end of the day. So you have to make sure you take really good pictures and really good notes so that you don't forget what you did, because sometimes you're asked to recreate a look from weeks ago and you're like, oh no, what did I do? So you gotta make sure that you have all those notes stored away or pictures so you can look back on. And also like the lighting, like bright lightings like this, sometimes it's not gonna be as bright or it can be even brighter, so you have to make sure you apply less or more makeup depending on the lighting. All right, so for men's makeup, you can keep it really simple. Like sometimes if I have, depending on how many people I'm doing, I can usually just do powder on them and send them off. But since we have some time today, I'll show you like what to do like when you have extra time to work and when you're in a time crunch. So first I'm gonna start off by wiping my hands off. And you always wanna make sure you put a cape on the client so that you don't ruin any of their outfits. All right, good. So I'm gonna first prime here, and I'll mention products like at the end of the demo here, like where to get them and whatnot. So this is Makeup Forever Primer. It's HD. And I usually just use disposable sponges for this. So I start in the middle and continue all the way like downwards.
I wish my sweetheart were here.
Yeah.
Learning.
Yeah.
It's a very nice feeling.
Yeah.
What does the primer do?
The primer ensures that the makeup will last long periods of time. You will have to like retouch during the day just in case like the actor gets shiny, but this should help it last for a good extended period of time. So now I'll just take also the Makeup Forever HD foundation. And Makeup Forever is a really good brand. It's got, a lot of their products are mostly designed for film. So if you're gonna get any like expensive brands, I would go for that one because that is a really good brand. For sure. And I'm just gonna mix it a little bit with some like concealer to try to make sure I match his skin tone good. And for, usually I don't do cream products that much, like for film, but like on like more mature skin, it's better to do cream products so it doesn't like settle as easily as powders would. So just really over any redness that you see.
I have a red nose.
What was that?
I have a red nose.
Just a little bit of redness. Not too much though.
You apply up, up
So you're
direction or go down?
gonna wanna go down. Make sure that you blend and blend and blend, because it's better to overblend than to underblend, in my opinion, just because you don't want there to be any like harsh lines whatsoever. You don't want him to look like he's wearing makeup. And also for men's makeup, like when you're applying the base or the foundation, you want to go like a shade, like 1 to 2, possibly 3 shades lighter, because darker. Because if you were to go lighter, it could make them look more feminine, and you don't want that. Now I'm just going to take like a little concealer brush and just get the areas where I can't get it with the sponge, like in the inner corners of the eye. And just cover any, like if you see anything that you don't want on camera, just cover it up.
Is that important at the hairline?
I just saw like there was like a little red dot there, so I just covered it up with the concealer here. So yeah, just anything that you see that you're not wanting to go onto camera, just wipe it, just cover it up like that. And I'm just going to cover a little bit on the top of his ear here, some redness here. doesn't want to stay on. There we go. I'm just going to use the clean side of this and use some powder. Just a little bit though, he doesn't need too much. And just pick a powder that's closest to the base that you used, because you don't want it to be too different. And once you start with powder, don't go back with creams because that could just make it look cakey and like smudge and like look muddy. So I'll make sure that you've done everything you want to with your creams before you do any sort of powder. Alrighty, and I'm just going to take a little bit of a darker shade, just a tiny bit, and just kind of run it along just the cheekbone area so he doesn't look like washed out under the lights. Alrighty, now I'm just gonna comb through his brows and I'm just gonna use a disposable makeup wand or mascara wand for this. You can, if you have a brush that has like a spoolie at the end like this, you can use that too, so that way you don't have to like waste your wands on that. I'm just gonna brush through. And usually, like you can just be done with that, but I'm gonna just fill in a little bit. And also I'm just gonna take a little bit more of the base and just put it. Oh, you're fine, don't worry. I'm just gonna put a little bit on your eyelids here. I just brushed it first. I just decided I'm gonna just put a little bit of the base on his eyelids, and then I'm just gonna go in with a powder for his eyebrows.
Mackenzie, would you put a darker base on a woman, or would you actually do blush on a woman?
For a woman, I would do blush, and for the base, you just want it to match like her natural skin tone. You don't need to go any darker or lighter with that. Just make sure that it matches her skin. And now,
If you had put a darker base on his cheekbones, he wouldn't be as
Oh,
flat. You're not doing blush
yes.
on
So
him.
I'm sorry. So the base is like the foundation part, and then the powder I was using kind of more to like to contour a little bit to just add some more warmth back to the face.
Instead of blush.
Right. Yes.
Well, that,
Yeah. And now I'm just taking an angular brush here and then just kind of going in strokes like this to try to imitate like brow hairs. That's the most natural way I find to make it look natural.
What of this would you do to do a quick and dirty makeup job before you know, say you had an hour to set up and get your shoot ready? What would you do?
So like I had an hour to do the makeup or just like an hour total to get everything ready?
An hour total to get everything ready.
Okay, so like what I would do, I would just do like the primer here, and then I would probably skip the base. I'd probably still do the concealer though to like cover like any like dark circles and stuff, because that's harder for the powders to do that. So then after that I would just do powder, and then yeah, you would be done. Yep.
How about facial hair on guys, mustaches and beards?
Facial hair, so like what you can do for facial hair, like if you get like a sponge, well, I don't actually have one on me at the moment, but there's like a sponge, like kind of like with like a lot of, not holes, I wish I could describe it well. Like bristly, kind of, yeah, and then you can like dab it in like a brown or whatever color to match the facial hair, and just kind of stipple it on there like a stippling sponge, and that way it will like imitate like facial hair to help like fill in any sparse areas and stuff like that. That's a really nice tool to have.
I'm looking at the screen,
Mhm.
and that red thing you put up there, I can still see that. Are you gonna take that off of there, because that looks terrible?
What red thing?
The red, when you marked him up here, you can see it on the screen. So that to me, it doesn't look good. Yeah. So are you gonna do something later to take that red? I mean, you can see it.
Yeah.
It doesn't blend in with his skin.
What that thing?
That
Yeah,
maybe-
the shadow. I think it's his hair that's shadowing on there. It's his hair, because I'm not seeing any red. Like there was like just a tiny little red dot there. It's his shadow from his hair coming down like this.
But you can see that on the screen.
Well, you're not going to be able to do everything.
With that, unfortunately, it's just with the way his hair is going. There's really nothing I can do about that. Maybe just like brush it down more.
Or just the
Yeah,
lighting.
maybe brush it down. Yeah. Right. Yes, that's better.
Yeah.
You have to just brush it down.
Perfect.
Alrighty. Now I'm just gonna, for the final touches, just kind of look and make sure that if there's anything that you see that you could like touch up
How
on.
about this here?
That ear? Here, we'll just do a little powder there. Because that one didn't have really any redness like the other one.
I just had a cancer removed from that one.
Oh, yeah. Alright, I'm just going to go a little more here.
Can you give it like one of those little Marilyn Monroe moles?
Oh, sure. Yeah, we could do that.
Without lipstick.
Yeah.
The last makeup demonstration I watched was Gene Simmons doing his makeup for Kiss.
Oh, yeah.
He
Nice.
did his daughter.
Oh,
on
cool.
YouTube. It's a process.
Yeah, I bet.
And those kids don't hold still like I do.
Yeah.
On the screen, it really looks
good.
On the screen, you wouldn't really know he had makeup on.
Yeah, that's, mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah, that's the
that's
idea,
very
for sure. And then, probably just to finish off, wipe off the little spatula here and just put some just lip balm on. And that's a little shinier than I want, so I'm just gonna take a Kleenex and just blot a little bit of it off.
You don't want to shine on a guy's lips.
Right. Alrighty, and final looks.
When my mouth is open, does it look natural?
Oh yes.
It's very nice.
And then,
Can you talk about where you can get these products?
yes, for sure. Now I think he is done. So for products, like I have like these concealers here, a bunch of them, mostly from Graftopian and Makeup Forever. Also, like all my foundations here are Makeup Forever. And the powders, some like this small palette here is from Ben Nye, and I really like those ones. And Makeup Forever, and those blushes, also Ben Nye, Krylon, Makeup Forever. Yes, for sure. Definitely. So this one is Krylon. This is more for like, I would probably use this more like runway stuff where you had to do more bold looks. And here we have another Makeup Forever one. Just a lot of neutrals, which are really nice, except for, that one.
Is it available at retail stores?
Well, actually all this stuff came when I went to school. They provided it all, but where they usually get everything from is Friends Beauty, and that you get all online. Friends, it's actually spelled F-R-E-N-D-S, so it's like Friends except without the I. And they actually, I think, are located in California, so that's why I get it all online. But they have everything. Like I get my like sanitizing sprays here, and I'll actually just show you. I'm gonna spray off all my powders that I used before like the next demo, because you have to just to make sure you keep it all sanitary for the next client, and that will dry within a few minutes. So that is something super nice. I never would have thought of that before I went to school, because before I went to school, I was asked to do several weddings, so I just brought like my own makeup, and now looking back, like, oh no, good thing that like no one got any funky eye thing or anything like that. So yeah, it's really important to make sure you keep all your products clean, and like these brushes I won't use on the next model. And you can, if you get like a sanitizing spray for your brushes. So like we have a break, I'll probably just spray these down and rub them off like on one of the wipes or a Kleenex, and just until they come clean, then let them dry, and then I'll use them for like the next demo. But if you don't have the time, I probably just leave them out, because make sure you have a lot of brushes on hand. Also, I would get for brushes, like these ones I think they're from Friends Beauty. They're called Royal and Lanicle Silk Pro, and I also have, these are some older ones that I'm thinking of replacing though. These Coastal Scents. I got a really good deal on them, so I thought I'd try them out. They're decent, but I probably am going to invest in some other ones like Sigma Beauty, which the only location is in Mall of America. You can also get them offline, and though they're actually known for their brushes, it was just a brush store to start out with, and now they're starting to bring in like makeup and whatnot. I haven't personally tried their makeup, so I don't know how good it is or not. So I probably stick to the stuff here. Also, MAC Cosmetics has really nice brushes that, yeah, I would use. Is there any other questions about any male makeup?
What would you say would be minimal, you're going out on location. The talent, excuse me, the talent maybe has some makeup on, but you need, to have some powder. What should you have on hand in your little toolkit to keep the person from shining like a light bulb?
Sure. Yeah, I would just powder. That's one of going to be your best friend is powder. It's there's times where you have to with the talent will come in with some makeup, and you just kind of, if you don't have the time to remove it, you're gonna have to just work with what they have. So say if they have their foundation on, great. You can just powder them up and make sure that they're nice and matte and not shiny. And also you can just run over their eyeshadow with some different ones to just make it look the way you want it for that particular shoot. Also if they have their mascara on, you can just leave that. You can add eyeliner if you need to. It all depends on what what character they're playing. Say a businesswoman would probably have more makeup on than say a stay-at-home mom would. In certain situations like that, the businesswoman I would say would have eyeshadow and her she would have a full face of makeup, where a stay-at-home mom would probably just have some mascara, eyeliner on, and need some lipstick.
What about hands?
Hands?
Yeah, sometimes we do close-ups of hands.
Sure, yeah. So I would say for hands, you can use. What was that?
I'm looking at my hands.
Oh.
And saying, oh my goodness.
Yeah. So I would say have a nail filer on you just to file their nails, and maybe even you could apply it clear top coat if necessary. Also just make sure their hands are nice and moisturized, and then you can apply I probably just use creams and rather than powders for that. Just dab it on with a sponge. I think that'd be easier than a brush, because just the flat surface I think helps hide more the strokes and whatnot that a brush would leave. So yeah, I would apply just some creams, and you don't have to do too much, just a tiny little bit, because yeah, you don't want it to look like it's too made up and fake.